Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. My name is Oluyemi Adeosun. Tonight, we'll be looking at a topic, the future-ready HR professionals, top skills for 2025 and beyond. Our facilitator tonight is Stella Onobu, and I'm excited that she has finally availed us of our experience and created time to join us today. Let me quickly read briefly about her profile. Stella is a seasoned strategic people and culture leader with over 10 years of experience spanning FMCG, manufacturing, supply chain, and real estate. Currently, Stella serves as the HRBP for supply chain and manufacturing unit at Food Concept PLC, where she leads the HR team supporting over 700 employees across production and warehouse units across different regions in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, she is known for ability and to align people's strategies with business goals. And her core strength lies in workforce planning, organizational design, leadership development, succession planning, and so on and so forth. She holds, she's certified. Okay, she has the Senior Professional in Human Resources International SPHRI certification with the Human Resource Certification Institute. And she also has an MBA from Obafemi Awolowo University. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking to us on the topic, the future-ready HR professionals, top skills for 2025 and beyond, I present to us Stella Onobu. Over to you, my sister.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Adeosun. I'm happy to be here, and thank you for this opportunity to share my knowledge with the team. So good evening, everybody. I'm just going to quickly run through the topic, future-ready HR professional, top skills for 2025 and beyond. But before we start, I'm going to ask this question. HR is evolving. Are you? So please, let's have this question at the back of our minds while you come along with me on this journey. And what we'll be walking away with today is we would be touching on understanding the macro trends that are shaping the future of work and the mandates for HR evolution. We will also identify critical skill clusters that every HR professional must have to stay relevant and drive value. We would also touch on the 4 key approaches to building a future-ready HR skill set, and then we would also look at real-world examples to see how the future-ready HR professional is going to act in certain situations. Now, let us analyze the current state of HR today. You would agree with me that the post-pandemic HR there's a lot of changes going on currently after COVID. And the question is, organizations are struggling to meet up with these changes. The question you will ask yourself is, are you as a HR professional also leading or driving this change within your organization? Because the changes out there right now are uncertain. There's just a lot of things going on. Work structures are changing. Economies are changing. We have inflation and all of those things. We are also faced with talent scarcity. We see situations whereby, candidates are turning down job offers. There's a lot of competition out there. What is the climate of your organization? Is it friendly enough? How are you, what is your people experience like? What are you doing in that space? We also see HR teams supporting a lot more people. What I mean here is, we could see like 2 or 3 HR supporting a workforce of about 300, 200. And you see there's a lot of pressure on the HR professionals. What are you doing to augment data literacy skills, AI tools? How are you using it to augment your current day-to-day activities for you to stay efficient? And now there's a strong identity shift. HR is moving from administrative functions to being a powerhouse and a strategic driver of business outcomes. Now we are going to be talking about the global trends that are forcing HR to reinvent itself. You will agree with me that, AI is the new kid on the block. AI is take this out. AI is the new kid on the block, and when you talk of AI, what comes to mind is ChatGPT. But I can tell you that, there are a lot of AI tools that go beyond ChatGPT. There are so many of them you can leverage on. The question is, are you aware of these tools? And in being aware, do you even know how to use these tools? I'm just going to, use ChatGPT that everyone is familiar with. I can tell you that while there's ChatGPT, not very many people know how to prompt ChatGPT to give them what they need, not what they want. So that should be a topic for another day. Another thing is AI. How are we learning to use AI to augment, what we do on a day-to-day basis? Another trend, in the global space is the boundaryless workforce. Work structure has moved largely from full-time to, remote hybrid work structures. Nowadays, before people accept job offers, they will ask you, what's the work structure? Is it fully remote? Is it fully on-site? Is it hybrid? People are even turning down job these days, based off of that. That's to show you that there's a major shift from what it was to what it currently is. And there's still going to be more shifts. The question is, how are you upskilling yourself to be able to manage even remote work teams? What strategies do you have in place? What tools do you know about? Are you aware that there are tools that you can use to monitor remote workers? The next global trend is the skills-first economy. Organizations are beginning to move from certifications to skills to people with the skills. I'm sure that we all follow the news where some of all of these big tech companies have, revamped their entire talent pool. The people that have remained on board are people who have the skills, not necessarily people with the certificates. In fact, it's people with just the certificates that made the biggest cut. We have also the rise of the super worker. We have people within our teams that are very tech savvy. What are we doing with these people? How are we maximizing their skills to help us? How are we learning from them to use AI tools? And then lastly, the human centricity as a business operative. Employee experience, employee well-being would never get old. How are you upskilling yourself to be a kind of HR that ensures that you give your people the best experience throughout their entire employee life cycle? Now, moving forward, we are going to now talk about the critical skill sets every HR professional must build to drive value. And I have grouped these skills into 3 major clusters. First is building strategic capabilities. Secondly is building digital literacy and analytical influence. And then building human-centered competence. Now, what do I mean by building strategic capabilities? And I will have you know that these skills cut across every level of the HR professional. We have beginners, we have mid-level, we have top executives. Now, in building strategic capabilities, this is a skill that helps you think like a business owner, like a CEO. You have to learn to build business acumen. And in building business acumen, what are we really talking about? Do you understand your company's financials? Do you understand the competitive landscape? Do you understand the market position? Do you really understand the strategic goals and the role HR plays in achieving these goals? Those are the kind of questions you should be asking yourself if you want to think like a business owner. Now, what will you do to help build all of the skills. Start participating in business planning meetings, P&L meetings, understand financial data. Those of you that have friends in the finance space, you could ask for help in understanding P&L and all of those things, and how HR fits into the P&L, because it's very critical. If you want to advance, you have to have strong business acumen. You have to speak the language of P&L. You have to speak the language of GP. You have to speak EBITDA. You have to understand revenue. Those are no longer skills that are left for finance professionals. Now that shifts. If you want to stay, ahead or in line with the change, this is a skill you have to master. Now, moving on to strategic workforce planning. Is your company planning on expanding? Are there plans to expand? If your company has planned to expand, what are you doing? How are you building your workforce? Or is it when you have arrived at when they want to maybe open a new branch, that's when you start recruiting? No, that doesn't make you a strategic partner. Once you have an understanding of the company's growth plan, that's the point you need to start planning before it even actualizes. And what do you do about it? How are you going to use your workforce to achieve, how are you going to leverage on your workforce to fill critical roles along with the business expansion plans? We are talking of employee retention. We are talking of building career growth paths. We are talking of, internal growth within the business. While I have not condemned, hiring externally, I've not condemned it, but you can actually do more with the resources you have, right? So in doing this, you can, how have you structured or have you implemented a process that sees that knowledge is being passed down, especially for critical roles? How is the structure of your succession plan? These are the questions you should be asking. And if you don't have it in place, you should be thinking of, how to develop like a structure or a process to ensure that knowledge is being passed down, especially for critical roles. And once there are business expansion plans, you have people who are ready to take on critical positions. While you can also recruit externally, you can also do more with the people you have on ground. We are all next moving on to change management. Are you able to drive change? Recall that we said one of the global trends that's forcing HR to reinvent itself is due to all of the changes going on in the external space. And because we need to move along with this change, we need to have people who can drive this change within. Are you that person? That's what you should be asking yourself. If maybe your company wants to adopt new technologies, change processes and all of it, how are you able to move the people from where they are to where the business is going to? The second skills cluster is building digital analytical frequency. Here, you're speaking the language of data. You're speaking the language of tech. What is your people analytics skills like? Where are you on that space? How are you able to leverage technology to augment all of your processes? Now, in people analytics, what you should ask yourself is, how are you using the data that you have, your workforce data? You conduct exit interviews. What are you doing with that data? You should be able to see the reasons why, people are leaving. Take, for instance, your data is telling you that you have people that leave between the first, to 6 months of joining your business. What are you doing with that data to ensure you reduce turnover, especially for new joiners? What are you doing with the exit information gotten from your exit interview for people who have been in the business for too long? Or once you are able to interpret data, it's going to help channel you on how to build strategies or initiatives to retain your workforce. Now, coming on to tech literacy. Are you aware that you like recall when we started this conversation, we talked about HR being on demand and managing multiple workforce. Now, are you still the HR that is leveraging on paper? I think it's time to rethink on how you want to learn data literacy, because we have tools that can help you, notify you of even birthdays for your team, notify you when someone has, stayed within the probation period for you to start planning for an appraisal cycle and all of those things, birthdays, promotions, and all. You don't have to put it in your head. You don't have to write it somewhere. No, we have skills you can leverage on. Even Google Workspace, there are what is it called? There are it's skipping my mind, but even Google Workspace, yes, it's called extensions. There are extensions you can activate on your Google Workspace that would help you with reminders for birthdays, for confirmations, for letters, for everything you want to do. The question is, how are you leveraging? Are you even asking questions to help you? Do you have remote work teams and you're struggling to get a hold of people that work from home? There are situations where, people are working from home. We are unable to keep track of what they are doing. We cannot even say what they're doing. But are you aware that there are skills you can use to actively track what your remote workers are doing and how productive they are? For example, skills, tools like Clockify, and just do some. I would encourage you to do more in-depth research on some of these tools to help you stay more efficient. Then the third skills cluster is building human-centered competence. You can never go wrong with employee experience. Employee experience, goes hand in hand with HR. Are you sorry, is someone saying something? So ask yourself, are you the kind of HR that people can talk to? Are you the kind of HR that creates an enabling environment where people can walk up to you and talk to you about their pain points? Or are you the kind?
That's good. Not like it's. So what does that mean? If I'm not, if I don't wake up and I'm still sleeping.
Sorry,
How will I go to work?
it's noisy in here.
No, you said we would do it.
Okay. So are you the kind of HR that people can walk up to and discuss their challenges with? Or are you the kind of HR that people perceive as, if we go and meet her or if we go and meet him, we know that they will just only connive with my line manager to make life more difficult for me here? We need to start rethinking employee experience. You need to know, as HR, you are neither a friend nor a foe. What systems are you putting in place to gather feedback on employee pain points, on employee challenges? What initiatives are you championing that speaks to the well-being of your workforce, that speaks to the employee experience of your workforce? And experience is from the point of coming into the company till the point of exiting the business. So employee experience skill is something that never gets old. Now, are you a coach or a people advocate? What does it mean to be a coach and a people advocate? Are you the kind of HR that's, once the management says, go fire this person and all that, that's where you are strong in? No. But when it comes to advocating for your team, people don't really see you there. If you are this kind of HR, please and please, I want to encourage you today to know how to take people advocacy as one of your strong points. Because when people trust that you have their interest at heart, trust me, any initiative you want to champion, you would easily get the buy-in of, the stakeholders. You will get the support of the employees. So how do you go about building skill? You need to train your managers on how to give effective feedback, how to mediate on conflicts management, train line managers. Some line managers, don't just know. It is your duty to train them on how to effectively manage the people that are below them. How is your emotional intelligence grade? Where are you in emotional intelligence? Are you able to navigate difficult conversations? Are you aware of even your emotion? Or are you the kind of person that cannot separate your emotions from the job? There's just a lot of things that speak to us as an effective people manager, as HR people. You need to learn to separate your emotions from the job. While I understand that sometimes our emotions might try to get the best part of us, depending on the situation at hand. You need to learn to separate it. Sometimes just take a step back, recalibrate and then come back, because this skill is a highly critical skill that every future-ready HR professional must master. Now, this slide shows us the evolution in action, what the old HR was and what the future-ready HR is and what it will be, and even more. We are moving on from administrative efficiency to strategic enablement. We are not just all about admin. There are so many tools now that we are using to automate all of those admin tasks. Once we have those tools automating our tasks, where does that leave you? What role do you then play? It then begs the question, how are you upskilling yourself to be a strategic partner in your business? We are moving on from the gut feel HR practice to making data-driven decisions. Where are you on that line? We are moving from systemic patterns of records. We are now moving to engagement and intelligence. Who are you? This speaks to your personality. We are moving from HR being the gatekeeper of policy. Once they say anything, policy says this, policy says that. What structures are you building up? How are you coaching managers instead of just quoting policy? HR is also moving from just being an activity-based unit or person to being an impact-based unit. And the question is, how are you building yourself? How are you upskilling in line with, all of these strengths? Now we are going to take a real life situation. What would a future ready HR do? Take, for instance, your company needs to build, skills for a green economy. Your company wants to expand. What will a future ready HR do? Will you jump at immediately hiring for external roles? No. What a future-ready HR professional will do is to identify what skills they have currently and compare it to the skills they would need. It's like doing a gap analysis of where we are and where we want to be. Once you have that in place, you can then think of how to upskill the skills and competence of to be ahead or in readiness for the role that you are planning to close. How are you, all of this speaks to improving the internal mobility in the company. All of this speaks to creating better career growth paths. All of this speaks to retaining your workforce. There's high competition out there. So what we are looking for is how to retain our best hands. And it is by, getting them ready, developing them to hold critical positions. And what's the result going to be? You see a 68%, internal fill rate. If you are able to use what you have to get what you want, you save yourself a lot of costs in recruitment saving. Now, here, what does this mean? You know that if you recruit externally, before a new joiner starts to deliver on the role, it takes about 2-3 months, if not more. But if you have someone who is already on the job, it won't take them that long to start delivering on the role. It won't take them that long to start delivering on the role. And you get to lose productivity time. That productivity time translates to money. So all of these are the reasons why you need to ensure that you are maximizing your current workforce. And this also leads to improved engagement score. You are retaining your people. You're motivating your people to want to give their best because they are seeing a clear growth path. You're seeing that, oh, there's something in it for me with this organization. Now we are going to look at another real life situation. This has to do with internal mobility challenge. High potential employees are leaving due to perceived lack of growth opportunities. What will the future HR professional do? A future HR professional will implement internal, like put up a structure, like a skills, a talent marketplace, using AI to, leverage, using AI to match skills with projects and roles. Now, what do we mean by this? It's not depending on the size of the organization, right? We can put a structure that sees people work in different situations, like a graduate training program, where maybe employees will work in a certain section for a few months. From there, they are moved to different sections. From there, they are moved to another section. That's, helping your team create a very robust and holistic development of their skills and their competence. Remember that growth is not only virtual. Growth can also be horizontal. So how are you doing it? What are you doing in your organization to get your talent ready for new roles? The impact of this is we are going to see a 35% reduction in high performer attrition. We have people who are high performers. The worst thing that can happen to you is to lose your best hands, is to lose people who have been in the business for a good number of years, who you've trained, who understands the workings of the organizations and all. Those are some of the worst things that can happen to you, right? And then you see an increased internal mobility rate, and you see an increased innovation score in your performance as an HR. Now let's run a quick self-check. On a scale of 1 to 5, how will you rate your current capability in business?
Right now.
Do you understand how your company makes money? Under data literacy, are you comfortable using data to make decisions? Are you comfortable leveraging on data, on the information gotten from your data to convince management? Are you actively exploring and experimenting new HR technologies? Are you an employee advocate? How well are you able to speak to the management on the pain points of the people? How are you a strategic partner to the business? Or are you just recruiting and all that? Do you understand how the business is losing money? Do you understand the competitive landscape? If we run a quick self-check, where do you stand on all of these critical areas? Now, let's talk about the 4 key approaches to helping us build future-ready HR skill set. First off, is to adopt a growth mindset. We need to be committed to continuous learning. The truth is, the older we get, the more difficult it is to keep up with learning new things. It's just a fact of life. But well, some people find it very easy, but majority of people, the older we get, is difficult. And even when you have to juggle with everything you have to do daily, you come back, you have to struggle for people that have kids, and you have to struggle with your kids and all of those things. By the time you finish everything, the little time you have, you just want to rest. But the thing about continuous learning is that it's intentional. You have to be highly intentional about it. You have to pay a price for it. I'm sure there are some people right now even listening to me that say, oh, okay, maybe they want to further their education and they want to take a course. They have been procrastinating from the beginning of 2025 until date. They are yet to do it. Why? Because once you ask why, they are ready to give you 1,001 reasons why it cannot be done. But then, like I said, you have to be highly intentional. You have to pay a price. The beautiful thing is, once you start, before you know what's happening, you are done with it, and you count it as an achievement. We need to learn to self-audit. We need to do a critical appraisal, just as we are doing for people, we need to do for ourselves. What have I achieved in terms of developing myself this year? So you might want to set learning goals, seek feedback, embrace challenges. Another approach to it is broadening your horizons. It's not just all about HR. You might also want to seek knowledge on aspects outside of HR. No knowledge is wasted. There's a lot going on in the world. And the more rounded you are in your knowledge, the better you will be at, at your deliverables. I mean, whenever you speak, people want to listen. Broaden your horizons, read P&L statements, do finance, attend sales meetings. It doesn't have to be HR. Take cross-functional projects that even have nothing to do with HR. Broaden your horizon, broaden your knowledge is very necessary. And another approach to it is getting your hands dirty with AI. Learn to learn. See, in the HRs, there's a lot going on when it comes to data, when it comes to AI. Trust me, there are things going on, even way beyond ChatGPT. There's a lot. Commit to, learning some of these tools and how you can implement it. Learn to, analyze data in your company. Learn to leverage on what you have. Learn. So the thing is, most times we have all of the resources we need right in front of it. The question is, are you able to spot it? And if you have spotted it, how are you using it to better yourself? Experiment with data. YouTube is one of the most valuable resources that can never get old. There are so many things to learn. There are so many data on YouTube that you can pick up. I think there are some, even IBM, Harvard, and all, they have practice data that you can learn analytics with. You can learn to analyze some of all these data. Take courses, data analytics courses. They're all over the place, both free and both paid. YouTube is a valuable resource, which I will advise us to constantly utilize, and then build your network. It's the importance of building networks cannot be overemphasized. Even myself talking to you, sometimes it's a struggle for me, but I know that it's something that I need to do. I had said before that something you might be looking for up there might just be within your network. Even within this HR mentorship space, join associations, volunteer to take sessions like this, volunteer to put yourself out there. Just anything that would help you build valuable network is another key approach to building yourself as a future-ready HR. Now, the call to action, what is the one thing you will do differently tomorrow to be more future-ready? I would strongly advise that you choose one skill from today's session that you will focus on developing within the next quarter. We are already, we have 6 months more. Before you know what's happening, we'll be entering December. I would advise that we make a commitment to develop even one skill. Set time targets, maybe before the end of Q3, I would have done this. Before the end of Q4, I would have done this, and be strong at committing to it. Schedule a meeting with someone who you feel can guide you on it, just be intentional about it. Get feedback from people. Ask for people's opinion on how you can go about things. If you don't understand something, please learn to ask, learn to speak, learn to ask for help. Trust me, there are people willing to help. The question is, are you asking? And so with that, I would want to say the best way to predict the future is to create it. And this was coined by Peter Drucker. I want to enjoin all of us today to, commit to developing our skills so that we can become future ready. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Stella, for this beautiful session. Ladies and gentlemen, do we have comments, questions, contributions? This is a good opportunity for us to take advantage. maybe you want to ask a question around the subject matter, or you want to share your own perspective. If you raise your hands, we can recognize you and you can speak. Very interesting session. We are waiting patiently.
We are waiting.
Okay, Madam Princess, you have the floor, ma.
Good evening, everyone, and a very big well done to Stella for that very, we said we're not saying insightful anymore, impactful, enlightening,
Thank you.
enlightening session. Thank you so very much. Mine is just a comment to say that I would say that the Gen Zs really don't have much problems in aligning with all of those things that you have said mostly. And so this session, I think, should the people that are in the baby boomers and, you know, perhaps some of the millennials should really, really take to heart, because number one, we were not born into this, you know, and secondly, some of us at that age now are heading HR in, you know, various areas of our careers. And so, and we're the ones who have to really, really understand, you know, how all of this is going to impact on the work that we do. It's no point in all our downliners understanding how to use all of this technology to improve and add value to our work as HR practitioners and professionals, and we don't have an understanding of it. And that's why I'm always advocating for that cross-generational interaction for us to be able to leverage on what we don't know how to use. So those who have, they do it like they do it without a thought. Even the things that they interrogate technology, like, you know, like I said, they're almost like they're born into it. And we struggle. And like you said, one of the things that we should always put ourselves forward to is to be the ability to be able to ask, the ability to be able to learn more, continuous learning. I am always trying to learn. I have no idea of technology. You know, in my own time as an HR practitioner, we didn't have that. It was all paperwork and all of those things, you know, that we were doing. And now I'm having to, you know what Python is all about, know what this one is all about, know what that one is all about. If you want to remain relevant and you want to continue to add value to your role, not even to your organization, to your own person and to the role that you're hoping to be professional and be a professional practitioner in the HR space. These are some of the things that we need to do. So thank you again very much. It's just an advice for people that are my age and around that age, or those who don't welcome technology and they're still like, AI is going to take my job. Know about AI. If you know about AI and all the things that comes with technology, then you will know the niche where you're not going to allow that technology to take over your job. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that feedback. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Madam, for chiming in very helpful and very healthy contributions. The good thing about this topic is that the present is evolving, and also the future is dynamic. And that's why, even though it may sound cliche now, you know, when we say we learn, we unlearn, we relearn, but really, that's the reality. Sometimes by the time you are perfecting a particular skill set, you may you may realize that you don't need the skill again. Just on a lighter note, so some of the things I do, for example, I used to need support with infographics, And I had a couple of guys, very sharp guys who are very good, you know, and used to help me with the infographics, with some of the write-ups and stuff I do. So one of them called me, I think just last week. I said, "Doctor, have I offended you?" He said, "Offense, Ke. For what? You have not done anything." I said, "So what is bringing this question of offense?" He said, "Sir, in the last 3-4 months, you've not requested that I help you with any infographics." I said, "My brother, don't be angry. You know, that there are so many apps now. Once you put the text or the data in it, not only will it give you infographics, it will give you options. And, you know, normally if I reach out to you that please help me do some infographics with respect to this data, you'll be saying, okay, don't worry, by this time tomorrow. But this one, in like 2 minutes or less, it has given me option. I say, so when I have work that I need you, I will reach out, you know, and that's just the reality. But again, does that now mean there won't be need for new skills? Of course not. So our job now is to say, what new skills do we need to top up what we have? So it shouldn't be you have, hypothetically speaking, now you have 25 competencies, and then event has overtaken 6 competencies. Your competency that is now relevant now just from 25 to 16. No. As you are losing that 6, hopefully you have picked up another new 7 or 8. And that's why we must always be on the edge and the frontiers of our practice. What are the things that are emerging? What are the tools that are being used? What are the new opportunities that are being created? What are the new problems that are being created? Somehow, like Princess said, we will find a new niche and will always be relevant. Victor Agu, you have the floor, please. I see that your hands are up. Victor.
Hello,
Yes,
can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay,
we can
thank
hear
you very much, Doctor. Thank you, Madam Stella, for this insightful section. I would like to ask for the intersection between skill sets and certifications in that sense. Now that we are getting into the future and there's a lot of clamor for, skilling up, competencies and all that, how do we blend certifications? What's the perfect intersection, for somebody who is coming up for 2025, 2026, and upward from there? What's the perfect intersection? What would be your advice for younger ones? I don't know if you get my question.
I think I do. So the truth is, as we grow in the HR space, certification is still very necessary. So I think the intersection between skills and certification is the experience. I think that's the intersection. Are you where your certification merges with the skills is at the point of experience? Are you actually doing the actual work? Have you been faced with challenges where you would put your skills in, and blend it with the certification that stands you out? I think the intersection should be experience. So while we have some people who have these skills, they don't have the certification. While we have the people with certification, but they don't have the skills, I think having that experience, having to do the actual work, having to face the actual challenge and solving whatever problem is, I think that's where the intersection lies. And so while chasing certifications, let us chase actual experience that builds our skills, so that when you have the certification and you have the skills coupled, blended with the experience, you are just, you are the one, you stand out and you are ready to take up the next role.
Hope that is sufficient. Victor?
If I can
Still checking.
just shed a little bit more clarity from my own
Go ahead, ma'am.
perspective between, the difference between a skill and a certification. Now, certification, you can go to school, you can learn it, and you're certified, and you reach to pass that certification, or you do all that is necessary to pass that certification, and that's it. The skill comes with, and the skill and competencies comes with your practice of that certification, of using it and evolving with it. And that's why you can see two people have the same certification, but one has more competency because of how they've interrogated, the knowledge that they gain from that certification, how much they've put into practice, how much they've been able to broaden their horizon within that same certification that they both got. And the one that doesn't really use it or go in depth with it, because sometimes what you have a certification in is just limited to that thing until you start applying it to the kind of various jobs that you do. That's where you're going to realize how much more you can achieve with a certification. And that's where that intersection comes in. Becoming certified does not necessarily, mean that you're competent. It's the skills of that certification, the skills that you grow through the certification that then, really puts in to say you're very competent. I hope that shed some more light on it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Still checking if we have any questions or comments in the chat box or any hands raised. All I see here is commendation and appreciation from many of our listeners tonight. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I think this may be a convenient intersection to unmute and say thank you to our facilitator, the delectable Stella Onobu. Thank you so much for gracing us and the lightness of love.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stella. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Stella. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Stella.
you.
We appreciate your time, the knowledge shared. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
All right.